recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Small Business and Developing You to Thrive. So thanks for joining me here today. I just got back from a vacation in Costa Rica and got to kind of partake in a little bit of this background here. Didn't quite look like that. That looks more like the Caribbean there, but we had a great time. Costa Rica is a great place to go. The people are warm, friendly, inviting, and everything about the experience was great. And it's my third time being to Costa Rica. The first two times I actually went whitewater river rafting, which was very exciting, and stayed on the river for like 4 days rafting. It was truly adventurous. And, as one of my values being adventure, being able to start traveling again has started to fulfill some of that values-based approach that I want to live by. And, right now things are very stressful for us. And I don't even think we realize the impact of the stress that we're probably all have on us right now, because when we feel unsafe, it means that we're stressed. And when we're stressed, we usually go into those modes of, fight, flight, or freeze. And being able to relax, meditate, do something fun, laugh, have an adventure, all of these things are really healthy for us. And, and again, it's like, I don't care, how much you're trying to get your business going, you've got to be in really good spirits and in a really good place in order for your business to continually grow. And I know everybody feels a little bit more of that struggle than we should be feeling right now. So I'm your host, Bonnie Bonadeo, and I look forward to episode number 49. So as of 50, I'm going to start going live on Facebook, and I'll share that with you. My Facebook page at Bonnie Bonadeo Coach, or at Bonnie Bonadeo will be the Facebook page that we're going to be going live on YouTube as well. So if you like the video version of them, you like to be able to see kind of the visual part of this, you'll be able to catch those on YouTube. Of course, this is a podcast, so it's streaming live on your Google Play, all your popular podcast locations here. So, all right, strategy. We're talking about education, and the title is. So how do we get to this place where we're being industrious versus helpless now too? So I like to tell our businesses, they do impact all the way down to our communities and our personal lives here, and for us to be able to have an understanding on it. And then hopefully, knowledge, anytime there's a little bit more knowledge that's being shared to you, it sometimes can ease the levels of stress. Okay. Now, industriousness kind of is referred to as constantly, regularly, habitually. Activity says she's so industrious. What they're saying, hopefully in a very positive way, is that she's constantly in action. She's success. She habitually does things in a way that you can count on. So there's integrity in it. Not too, out there or inconsistent with the approaches that we're taking. And then, of course, the other side of it that we're talking about today is being helpless. And of course, that's the inability to defend oneself or act effectively. The inability to defend oneself or act effectively. And I like the way that they defined helpless as act effectively, meaning that we do have a choice in this, and one of the challenges that we're all facing right now, in our industry is, we have a very independent, silo-driven culture today. You step onto my little island or my silo and you say the wrong thing, and then you've got cancel culture on top of you, or the woke culture on top of you. So everybody's kind of walking around on little eggshells. And what's happening is, and in between the pandemic itself, we're all isolating ourselves and we're creating our own little islands of, well, that I'm just going to stay right here and I'm going to do the best that I can do with what I need. But we know that long-term, that culturally, as human beings, this is not sustainable at all. Experiences, we need to be collaborating. We need to be all of those things in order to really live a very healthy lifestyle. So there's certainly challenges that are happening with this island effect, this silo approach to things. And it's tying into the younger generation in a way that's really making it difficult for all of us to be collaborating more, even when we can or allowed to be collaborating. So the saying is, teach them to fish so that they can feed themselves. But what if they're too lazy to learn how to fish? Okay. What if they're kind of still having these expectations that you need to be fishing for them? And for those of us that are entrepreneurs and running businesses, there's a part of it, if you're, as a leader in a team, there's a part of it that you have to be able to look at that says, I need you to be responsible, and I need you to be consistent, and I need you to be regular, and I need you to understand our policies and habitually be active and occupied with these policies. Okay. Be industrious. And what's happening is that we're kind of getting set up with this helpless, this inability to defend ourselves or act effectively. And with everything that's going on in society. So, kids being forced to wear masks in schools, kids not wearing masks in schools, getting the vaccine, not getting the vaccine. All of these things are creating multiple silo effects for us. And then what happens is that we're now creating this overarching judgment of society. Okay. And it's going to impact us long term. Short term, it causes us stress. Short term, it causes us frustration. Short term, we feel like, one person's doing one thing that is somehow impacting the life of me or others. And we all need to start being a little bit more industrious at this point. Okay. And we can learn to do this. All right. We have to learn to grow, and we have to want to learn to grow, whether that is by choice or not. And yes, we get to choose. You get to choose in this element here, but choose wisely, my friends, okay? Because sometimes the lessons can be painful, and they don't have to be. Now, we all know that the greatest lessons we've learned in life have been the hard lessons. They've been the lessons that have taken us down a notch, or that we realized something wasn't as it seemed, and we had to learn the hard way, right? We've all had these lessons, but there's so much resources out there, and there's so many experts, and there's so many capable people out there to be able to help us through some of these lessons, that we need to call upon them. But that requires us to be open to growing and evolving. All right. Open to growing and evolving, and being less judgmental is a part of that. So we can certainly say that being industrious has a self-driven approach to it. Being helpless has a victim mentality approach to it. But when we're talking about businesses, and we're talking about building strategies to help us to be more successful, we have to figure out not only being industrious, but we have to realize, how do we help other people to be more industrious, right? And of course, that's what this podcast is all about, is that strategic opportunity for success. And we remember, each and every week we talk about the SOS strategy here, and the framework for this are these keystones of sales, operation, mindset, marketing, and education. And today I am hoping to just educate you a little bit so that we can reduce the stress levels that we're all feeling. Because there are certain things that are out of our control, and feeling stressed over them is not going to help. It's not going to help, screaming at the TV or your phone, the news, your neighbors, people driving down the street, all of these things. If our stress levels continue to get really high, we're going to be unhealthy as we kind of take things on. And this is where we need to learn to be industrious. Now, technology has played a big part of us losing a bit of that industrious action approach. And we're not necessarily helpless, because we have new resources that we're focusing on to be able to help us to be industrious in a different way, right? Some of the opportunities here of being industrious. So on here, all right, I think we're back. Technical difficulties. So I'm going to teach you 3 ways here. And so the first, we're really being industrious with our brand. It's going to be based on our values, our personal values. And we're going to transfer those personal values into our business values. And we're going to stay true to ourselves and our business, which means that those people that work for us and the clients that choose to be a part of our business, and come into our business, that it's based on these personal values. Okay. It's a values-driven approach to having people understand what our guidelines are, what we're willing to do, what we're not willing to do. And to trust that the way that you set up your business with a values-based approach creates a strong foundation for longevity. Okay. Develops really great opportunities for sustainability. Now, also being industrious with your brand is committing to a brand purpose, okay? And then being able to share that. So I know that we are in a supply and demand issue, as I've shared and that you've heard me talk about on this podcast, and any of my clients that are listening that are my coaching clients, we're talking big time about supply and demand here. So if your supply and demand is up and you're thinking, well, I'm busy, I don't need to worry about being industrious or having a brand, but we do, because things are still changing. Okay. So we have to be able to look at that brand purpose as when we need to hire more people, when clients start to become demanding and unruly, then our brand purpose is where we then create those guidelines to be able to say, I don't have to do business this way, okay? But in a professional way, and in a professional and industrious way. And remember that part of being industrious is that you have to evolve it as you grow it, as you grow and as your business grows, that your brand sometimes can become bigger than you. So there's always that opportunity that you have to evolve it and evolve yourself in the process of that. Now, a helpless approach to your brand would be that you have no defined purpose. You have no unique message or vision, no original digital presence. Okay. You kind of have more of a generic outlook on things and a generic look on things. And how this is going to impact you is in regards to clients and finding workers to be able to come and work for you. If you don't have time to nurture or expand your brand foundation, then you're falling into this helpless victim mentality. Okay. And when we fall into this victim mentality, it usually means that there has to be a villain. If you're the victim, somebody has to be the villain. And what happens is that we start to then put blame out on others that maybe don't deserve it. Okay. And a victim mentality is going to not serve you long-term. It's not going to serve you well at all long-term. So you want to be able to make sure that you have that helpless victim mentality. Now, the second thing is being I know this word is kind of like used in multiple different ways and everything, but the avatar from my point of view is you have to be really clear on the type of clients that you want to do business with. And as a matter of fact, really defining what that ideal client looks like, not ideal clients, ideal client, because you want to manifest and market to that ideal client. So you got to have this amazing clarity on your who's your who. Okay. And you have to have be very clear on easy money and passive income. Okay. So if your particular business kind of, focuses on high level, then you should focus on trends. Then what you are setting yourself up for is when that trend changes, are you still going to have the client or the base that you originally had? Or are you now having to find easy money and passive income? I've seen a lot of people, especially come into the beauty industry, and they're like, I don't want, this typical client that, just gets, partial highlights one time, full highlights the next, does a haircut somewhere in between. And, that's all we do. I don't want that. But I can tell you that's what most women want. And that's considered easy money. And it's called passive income. Now, if there's another specialty that you want to take on, great. But the truth is you still need kind of that foundation of those kind of clients because you can count on them in order to make a living off of. And part of this industrious approach to avatars is that you have to be able to market directly to her. Okay. Now, you can market to a niche, let's say extensions or, unicorn colors, okay, rainbow colors for their hair type of thing. But that can't be your foundational. That would never be considered easy money or passive income because there's a lot of work to that. Just like if you were, a restaurant, you were a high-end restaurant type of thing, you might have a niche that's vegan, right? So in other words, your avatar is somebody that is vegan, and you're not going to have meat on your menu. You're very clear about that. Okay. So you know exactly who your audience is. And matter of fact, when we were in Costa Rica, they actually had a vegan hotel. So not only was, the restaurant in there a vegan restaurant, but the hotel was vegan too. So you kind of have to think like how across the board do you have to be for a brand identity to call yourself a vegan hotel? Okay. And I didn't get a chance to experience it that much, but I thought it was an interesting approach to it. So when you market directly to her or him, okay, you have to understand his or her pain points. What is not working for them? What are their challenges? What are their struggles? What are their problems? And then you have to be able to make sure that this avatar, that you are the solution. And if you're the solution, then you're going to provide all these solutions to their potential problems. And that's how you become an industrious marketer. Okay. An industrious marketer, again, consistent, solid, okay, always in action, habitual in your approach. That's how you do it. You solve her problems through marketing, industrious marketing there. Now, to be helpless in this approach to avatar is that you don't have a defined avatar or ideal client. You don't have a unique message or vision. You don't have any clear identity of her. In other words, you believe that your avatar is anyone or anybody or everyone. And what we know to be true from a strong marketing and branding approach is that if you market to everyone, you market to no one. Because today marketing is so strategic. Algorithms, the way that you put things out there, the target audience, you can narrow the target audience down. Like all of these things are a part of what the advertising world is all about. They're very clear on who they're marketing. And it's not just, it's not just brand identity, but it's then also making sure when it comes to being a marketer, you want to be an industrious marketer. Okay. And then of course, in the final approach to being industrious, we're going to look at talent. We all know small businesses are struggling to be able to get help. And we can be the helpless person and say, well, the government just keeps giving them money. So why do they need to go back to work? And yes, there's some fact and truth to that. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you should give up. That would be taking on a helpless approach. Okay. That would be saying there isn't anybody out there for me to hire. And we know that that's not true. There's really great people out there that are looking for great opportunities that you have to offer. But an industrious person looking for great talent has an ongoing campaign to find them, nurture them, and train them. An industrious person would also be a curious leader to keep them. All right. So they would allow them to get to this level of expertise and have a great culture and environment that keeps them with them. You'd have to create a great avatar, just like we're looking for the ideal client. You might be looking for the ideal employee. So do the work to be able to say, who is my ideal employee? All right. And then you target market to that ideal talent, not in general. Help wanted, hiring now, okay? You build strategically focusing on who you're saying is of connecting with them, okay? Not you, them. So I put a post up under my Brand Me agency on Friday. So every Friday those posts go out. So you can certainly, they're called brand bites. They're very, very simple little tidbits. There's going to be some video that's going to be added to them as well coming this fall instead of just a post. And I want you to think about the fact that if you're struggling to find employees right now, it might be more you than them. Okay. So they just might not be that into you. And the reason why they're not that into you is because you're not speaking directly to them and they're checking you out and you don't fit their persona. So you have to decide, and I'm not saying that you need to change your brand or your culture or your website in order to fit their persona, but words sell. So you're maybe not using the right words. And then I actually have been pulling up a lot of advertising that I've been seeing lately for beauty industry advertising. And I can tell you some people are doing it really well, but then they make one or two absolute mistakes. And the absolute mistakes that they make is they say things like full-time positions only. Okay. Nobody wants to work full-time anymore. You're not in the mindset of them. So it's better to have two part-time people, okay, than to have one full-time person, because the minute you say full-time, must work Tuesday through Saturday or something like that, the minute you say that, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to work full-time. I don't want to work that many days. Okay. Other things like must have 5 years experience. You're not in the mindset then, because the people that you need to be hiring are the ones that have 1 to 3 years experience, which means they need to be nurtured and trained, and you need to be an industrious leader and an industrious trainer so that you can keep them as well. You're not in the mindset of connecting with them. So although maybe some of the copy in the middle is really well written, The top part that says their expectations, or the bottom part that says, in order to apply, you must have the following criteria. That's what's stopping them from sending you a resume or contacting you. Most times what I see too is that you're expecting too much from them on the onset. You're expecting them to fill out a full-on job employment application versus just sending you a quick overview of them. Because the most important thing that we need to do is we need to meet them. We need to let them experience our place of work, and we need to get to know them. And we need to nurture this level of confidence that they had. So we had somebody that was in our salon last week, and he looked excited to be there for the interview, but he also looked overwhelmed. And one of the things that he said in the interview was, well, I was really looking for a smaller place to work. Now, in order to get into the mindset and connect with them in regards to that, some really powerful questions could have been asked right then and there. Why do you feel like a smaller place to work is going to be better for you? And I can tell you it came down to confidence. It came down 100% to confidence. They didn't have the confidence to work in a big place because they assumed a big place meant that you had to have all your shit together and that you had to already know what you were doing. But ultimately, a big place has systems and operational strategies set up to be able to help them be more successful. So the truth is, we were probably the best opportunity for him. Going to a smaller place might mean that he'd have to suffer longer to be better at certain things he wasn't confident with. Now, it's still a work in progress. I'll let you know the results of that, because he was going to go check out a few more salons, which we highly recommended that he do. And hopefully he'll come back around and see that bigger is not as intimidating as it seems, but bigger is going to provide him the support, the nurturing, the training that he might need in order to be great. Okay. All right. Now, here would be some helpless approaches to finding talent. That you're just doing random actions that are ineffective. In other words, you might just be running an ad, but you're running an ad expecting them to upload a resume onto Indeed. And listen, the people that are out there looking for jobs in our industry, in the beauty industry, probably don't have a resume to upload on Indeed. And they may not even be looking on Indeed for an actual job. Could be. Higher level ones might be. Okay. So you're just kind of doing that, and you're spending a lot of money on these ads, but then what you don't have on your website is a career page that kind of gives them an overview, or even a well-done website to be able to have them say, oh, this looks cool. I could go work there. That looks like it fits my, my style type of thing. So in other words, you have no digital connection or identity that speaks to them in a way that they feel like you're a good fit for them. And we have to stop putting out there what we expect from them and start putting out there what they expect from us. Okay. Or another helpless tactic would be that you don't have any time to invest in the future. In other words, you're saying, well, we're really busy right now. I don't have time to put a hiring campaign together. But we all know that stylists leave. And right now there is a mass migration. Okay. It's called the Great Resignation era. And there's a mass migration of what's happening. And so people are going to leave, and you have to be prepared to be able to fill that. Because if I've always said, you got a salon with 6 chairs and you lose 2 people, because you never just lose one. It seems like they always go in pairs, right? You lose 2 people, that's 1/3 of your business walking out the door. Now, my client and I had a conversation the other day where we were talking about what's the percentage of clients that actually do leave. And although I don't have an exact number here, this is kind of just based on experience. What we've noticed is that the stylist does in fact carry more weight for people to walk out the door. They have a relationship with the stylist, maybe not necessarily the owner or the salon. This is why I say that your industrious brand is critical, because if you have a strong brand and you have a strong values-based approach as an owner, then you're connecting with those clients no matter what chair they're sitting in, no matter what stylist they're seeing, and that there's some loyalty to you, not your business, you. There's some loyalty to you, all right? Again, it's not overarching here that there's truth to that, but it appears that about 60 to 70% of the clients will actually leave. Now, we assume that it could be more in there, but the truth is I think some people might go to the next place with the stylist the first time, But if they aren't comfortable with it, or they don't like it, or they're having a hard time getting in, or they just don't have the availability or the same hours or whatever, then what happens is that stylists or that clients are then kind of like floundering around looking for somewhere else to go. They don't necessarily come back to the other salon because they are a little embarrassed to. So, the marketing campaign of hiring people and the marketing campaign when you lose people is critical. And you got to learn to be able to do that. You got to learn to be able to communicate with these clients, and communicating with them on your brand, communicating with them on how you're solving their problems, no matter whose chair they're sitting in, and to be able to communicate new people to come into your business to work for you is all being very industrious as a business owner. Okay. Now, a lot of times people say, I don't have time to invest in the future. And that's a big mistake, because like I said, people are going to leave, and that your mindset might be on giving up, thinking that there's great talent out there, that everybody just wants to be independent, or nobody wants to work because the government's paying for everybody to just stay home. That's a mindset issue that you need to work on, and to be able to kind of get out of it and get into industrious action. Okay. All right, guys. Now listen, if you want to be industrious and you want to learn how to be more industrious, I can help. I'm here to be able to help you. And how I can help you is with one of my two business entities here. So one is the SOS Salon Coaching, which I always recommend as a starting point. Okay. And this is where I really help you we look at your brand. We put an SOS strategy together and say, what's the urgent needs that you're faced with? What are the concerns that you're having right now? How do we implement an industrious approach to be able to have you go from surviving back to thriving? I just got off a call with one of my clients. Just before I came on and did this podcast, and she shared with me, this is really great news. She shared with me that she's had her best month ever for July, best month ever in the history of her business. And she's been in business for 10 years. So that means that it's super exceeded 2018, 2019. Here in 2021, July of 2021, she had her best month ever. And she's a very high-end, profitable salon to begin with. And she, during COVID, lost the majority of her staff and rebuilt it back up again. So I can tell you, she's being an industrious leader for sure. And I'm so honored to be able to work with her. And I'm proud of everything that she's accomplished, and thrilled with her success at this point. And it's not without struggles. It's not without her being frustrated or having to learn to do things in a different way that, worked at one time, but that don't work anymore for her. And that's why we work together. That's why I'm her coach, is to be able to help her. And I can tell you that I help her more on the mindset of things, and then have her look at sales, operations, mindset, marketing, and education in a way that supports her business to continually evolve and grow and prosper. Okay. And now the second business that I have is Brand Me Marketing and Branding Agency. Okay. And that's about creating consistent customer connection. So it's really, really, really focused on your digital presence from the outside. So whether it's customers, and I even say that your staff, the people that you're trying to recruit in as talent, are considered your customers until they become your employees. They're looking at you from a way of the same way that a customer would. So it kind of falls hand in hand. And that my agency is really set up of great resources. So if you're looking for somebody to help you with social media, if you're looking for somebody to help you with a website build, maybe you just need a website cleanup, you just need to kind of a redo a little bit, some updates, enhancements. Okay. If you're looking for a virtual assistant to be able to help take some of the things off your plate, if you're looking to be able to understand a little bit more about your brand identity, if you need help putting together, my 10-step digital brand presence, I do a brand audit with you to be able to have you see where you stand right now on your brand identity. And with that, we then put the resources together, including myself and my team, to be able to get you what you need, so that hiring new people doesn't become as cumbersome, and that they see you as a vital business that is attracting the right talent, and to be able to have clients see that you are a valid business and they want to do business with you. Okay. So those are the two companies, SOS Salon Coaching, as well as Brand Me Marketing and Branding Agency. And all it's going to take for you guys to get started with me, because I offer a complimentary SOS strategy session, is to go to the website, www.sossaloncoaching.com. SOSsaloncoaching.com. You'll see that there's an opportunity to set up a free strategy session with me. Click that link, goes right to my calendar. I'll follow up with you and we'll set up that, and I'll either I'll have your number and I'll let you know we'll be doing it via phone call, or I'll send you a Zoom link and we'll get to meet virtually and find out what you need, what's urgent in your business that I can help you with, and put that little strategy session together, and we'll see if it's an opportunity for us to work together further into the future. All right, thanks you guys for joining me as always with the SOS Salon coaching and podcast, and a small business podcast here. Because you guys, I don't want you to be a sinking ship. Okay. I don't want you to be losing any more money than you are. Things are going to get tougher. Taxes are going to go up. We've got things as small, need to be the most prosperous and profitable business we can, finishing out this year and going into 2020, 2021. So let me help you do that. All right.